Hey there, everybody. Ani here, playing some Dark Souls New Game Plus Abridged, and many apologies for the long delay since my last update. I have just been the busiest of all possible bees. But last time we beat up on Mr. Stay Puft, and now we are all set to get ourselves a Lord Vessel. I do gleefully anticipate that warping ability. So we're going to do the usual shtick with Guinevere here, but you may recall there was some evidence last time that she might actually be an illusion created by Gwendolyn. I'm somewhat inclined to test that theory, but of course first we're going to need to get our Lord Vessel.
O chosen undead, I am Guinevere, daughter of Lord Gwyn and Queen of Sunlight, since the day I bequeathed.
Yeah, we've heard it all before. Just hand over the warpy thing.
And beseech, thou shalt end it.
And what I'm also going to do here, which I did not do last time, is join her covenant, because we get a ring for doing that, which does have some interesting lore attached in its flavor text. Covenant itself not terribly interesting, but the ring a little bit more so.
Hereafter I, Gwendolyn, shall serve thee as thine guardian. If thou so needest, I shall devote all to thine safety. May thou be one with the sunlight forevermore.
It's a nice sentiment, but
Now thou shalt go forth.
I continue to harbor suspicions that you might not be entirely real. So we are going to apply the Grogan test. There we go. Yeah, no response whatsoever. Definitely an illusion. Well, as illusions go, it's not too bad, but, yeah, I think it might be a little overinflated. So let's just go on ahead and let a little of the air out.
Thou that tarnishest the Godmother's image, I am Gwendolyn. And thy transgression shall not go unpunished. Thou shalt perish in the twilight of Anorlonda.
Whoops! Well then, let's have a look at that ring we picked up for the Covenant membership. This ring is granted to those who enter a covenant with Guinevere, daughter of Lord Gwyn and the Princess of Sunlight. This slightly warm ring boosts the synergy of miracles. The Princess of Sunlight Guinevere left Anorlando along with many other deities, and later became wife to flame god Flan. Flan. So yeah, that's why there's an illusion of her. It turns out she got the hell out of Dodge. So the real Guinevere is out there somewhere, hanging out with a rich caramel dessert. And as you can see here, the Covenant is not accessible, but we don't even need the ring to go down into the depths of the Darkmoon tomb. Killing off Guinevere will remove the illusory wall, and without the ring we can go on in and pick a little fight with the Darkmoon here. Engaging standard boss mode.
Heretic. First thou offendeth the Godmother, and now thou seek fit to trample upon the tomb of the great Lord. I am the dark son, Gwendolyn. Let the atonement for thy felonies commence.
And so you see, Gwendolyn gets a little bit of a different speech, because his reason for being pissed off at us is a little different this time. Although technically we didn't do any harm to a deity, just his simulation of one. But I suppose that's close enough for his temperament. And Gwendolyn, as with any boss, is the same as he ever was behaviorally, but the increased damage, if you get a little careless, as I seem to be doing, does mean he poses a little bit more of a threat. It's not like I have a massive equipment advantage this time like I did over the early bosses. Yeah, definitely got a little bit careless there. Alright, let's try that again. This time I brought along my crest shield just to be safe, because really, the only major threat here is for magic damage. He does have that impossibly rapid-fire bow of his, but any old shield will do against that. It doesn't knock off a great deal of your stamina. Ah. Knew those good dodge timings couldn't go on forever. Got a third hit in there. One nice thing about creeping up on Gwendolyn is that his hitbox doesn't actually go away until he's pretty much completely disappeared, so even while he's most of the way teleported out, you can still get in an extra hit from time to time.
Oh, heretic, swathed in dark, an eternal curse upon thee.
And there we have a spare boss soul. And a very respectable 120k reward. Which is going to give us enough for another 2 levels, I believe. And we are going to continue to get smarter. Moving on, we're going to see something else a little bit new as a consequence of our actions.
So it was you, was it? How dare you produce a blade upon a deity? How did you ever get this far? I shall end your suffering here and now. It is the least that I can do.
So, it's that Firekeeper. And, you know, she was talking to us. She even turned her head to look at us as we approached, but still just kind of stood there for the backstab. And now she's going to back off and apply a buff, which is the Darkmoon Blade, which is a very potent weapon buff, which you can get from Gwendolyn's Covenant. And it's quite strong, and it only gets stronger as you level up in the Covenant. Oh, yeah, look at that damage. Looks kind of cool, too. And once again, we're just slowly creeping up. She turns her head, looks right at us, and stab. God damn! Look at Katy Perry here. Maybe you're a firework.
What you saw on the light of the dark moon.
Alright, if that's how it's gonna be, then this time we're going in hot. I'm sorry, this will never stop being funny to me. And with our double buffs engaged, that very nearly killed her, so one more good hit ought to get the job done if I can avoid another incredibly damaging parrying dagger trick.
But how? This woman was a threat. Master Gwendolyn.
Much better. And with that new Firekeeper soul, we can upgrade our Estus Flask to +7, which is the ultimate level. And it's time to pay a visit to a Welshman.
Alicia, mate. I didn't expect.
And as usual, he will have boss armor for sale, and since this time we took on Mr. Stay Puft, we can get his gear. Helm of Smuff, the Executioner, protector of the cathedral at the forsaken city of Anorlando. It offers extremely high defense and can be worn by humans, but not without great difficulty. And it is really good armor, just, yes, extremely heavy. Pretty good defense, pretty damn good poise, nothing as good as Havel's stuff, but it's right up there. And by the way, I know the generally accepted pronunciation is Smo, but when I was playing this game early after release, when there was no generally accepted pronunciation yet, I personally settled on Smuff, and I'm gonna dance with the one what brought me. So let's try it on. God damn, Salad. Been packing a lot of junk into that trunk. Flop. Large and in charge. Alright, time to drop off the Lord Vessel with our new bestie and see what truths he has to reveal to us.
You are astonishing. The truth I shall share without sentiment. After the advent of fire, the ancient lords found the 3 souls, but your progenitor found a 4th, unique soul, the Dark Soul. Your ancestor claimed the Dark Soul and waited for fire to subside, and soon the flames did fade, and only dark remained. Thus began the Age of Men, the Age of Dark. However, Lord Gwyn trembled at the dark, clinging to his Age of Fire, and in dire fear of humans, and the Dark Lord who would one day be born amongst them. Lord Gwyn resisted the course of nature by sacrificing himself to link the fire and commanding his children to shepherd the humans. Gwyn has blurred your past to prevent the birth of the Dark Lord. I am the primordial serpent. I seek to right the wrongs of the past, to discover our true Lord. But the other serpent, Frampton, lost his sense and befriended Lord Gwyn. Undead warrior, we stand at a crossroads. Only I know the truth about your fate. You must destroy the fading Lord Gwyn, who has coddled fire and resisted nature, and become the 4th Lord, so that you may usher in an Age of Dark.
Sure.
Very well. I shall now guide you to Gwyn's prison. Be still, and trust thine flesh to me. This is Gwyn's prison. Now, place the Lord Vessel upon the altar. What is it? Place the Lord Vessel upon the altar.
All right, all right.
Very well. Once the vessel is filled with souls, the gate to Gwyn shall open. Seek Grave Lord Nito, the Witch of Izalith, and the traitor, Seath the Scaleless. Fill this vessel with their souls. Then the gate will open, so that you may kill Gwyn. Are you ready? Then let us return to the abyss. Entrust thine flesh to me. What is it? I am your guardian. Go on, state your wish. They failed, every last one of them. They were strong, but saw not the truth. I am certain that you will prove different. They failed.
So apparently we're descended from the Pygmy, who I guess was Manus, and we're destined to be a Dark Lord. Cool. Also at this point I took a little detour into the Great Hollow and the Ash Lake just to prep the bonfire for future warping, and this mushroom guy just kind of stopped working. You okay there? He's just gonna stand there and take it. Alright, now let's see what old Frampton has to say about all this.
You sorry fool. You could not be the chosen one. Enough. I shall slumber until I am awakened again.
Yep. Once you've placed the Lord Vessel with one serpent or the other, then the one that you did not side with will bitch you out and fuck off forever. So that's kind of the turning point. And in the meantime, I made something neat that I'll show you. Smuff's Hammer. This is the single heaviest item in the game and has a massive strength requirement, so even two-handing it, which cuts the strength requirement in half, I still can't use it properly. So yeah, you have to have a pretty dedicated strength build to make reasonable use of this, but the main reason I built it is because it has a fun bit of lore attached to it. Yeah! So we'll take a look at that. Great hammer from the soul of Executioner Smuff, who guards the cathedral in the forsaken city of Anorlando. Smuff loved his work and ground the bones of his victims into his own feed, ruining his hopes of being ranked with the Four Knights. So apparently he wanted to be one of Gwyn's big four, but his cannibalistic habits made even Ornstein kind of grossed out by him, and so that was that. Next I headed through the Duke's Archives, where little of importance happened that you haven't seen before, but I did build up enough souls in the process to get myself another level, so I'll do that now. Get myself another point of smarts. And now it's time for our good friend Seat the Scaleless. And this time I am going to make every effort to get the tail cut, and you will see just how annoying that can be if you don't manage to grab it right away while he's stunned from destroying his own crystal, because it's going to take me quite a while to retrieve it, and I'll nearly die a few times in the process. While I'm doing that, though, since this is going to take a little while, I'd like to talk about Frampton and Koth a little bit. Hope you don't mind terribly. There's quite a bit of debate among fans in the Dark Souls sphere over which is the more righteous cause, that of Kingseeker Frampton or Darkstalker Koth. And folks in the Koth camp tend to say that Koth is more truthful, whereas Frampton never really tells you you're going to be sacrificing yourself, and leaves out quite a bit of information, although he never outright lies to you. Now, personally, I think both of them are concealing quite a bit from you, but Frampton, while not strictly honest, and certainly committing some sins of omission, I would say Frampton is the more well-intentioned one overall. Now, the key thing that Frampton leaves out is that, Lord Gwyn was going against the flow of nature by trying to perpetuate the Age of Fire and keeping the Age of Man from being born. And, of course, he never tells you that you're going to take Gwyn's place, burning yourself in the kiln of the First Flame, which can't be a barrel of laughs. On the other hand, Koth tells you that you're going to be the Dark Lord and rule over this new age of man, but you'll notice he doesn't have really much to say about what the age of man will actually entail. And, you know, there are a couple of possibilities for that, but I think two of the big ones, two of the likelier possibilities, can be seen by looking in the intro, or looking to the fate of ancient Ulysseal. You know, in the intro, before the Age of Fire was born, humans, you know, they're just kind of staggering around, looking kind of zombie-like, possibly hollows. And so, before the Age of Fire, humankind didn't seem to have a real good lot in life. And also, you'll recall that the people of Ulysseal were tricked by a toothy serpent in order to unearth the body of Manus and thus have their humanity run wild and turn all freaky bloated-headed. And I am pretty sure it would be Koth who did that, because he is the Seeker of Dark and the alleged backer of humans. So that really doesn't seem like it would be Frampton's MO. He just wants someone to take over for Gwyn. So, I think the Age of Man, the Age of Dark, as Koth puts it, is really just going to be a place where everyone's hollows, scraping for what little humanity there is to go around, or it's going to be an overflow of humanity that just makes everyone go crazy and uncontrollable and, you know, bring civilization to ruin, just like what happened with Ulysseal. So, yeah, you'll be the Dark Lord. You're going to be in charge of everything, but you'll just be the queen or king, depending on your character, of an age of madness, of a dead world. And so I think while Frampton is, again, somewhat less than strictly forthright with you, he ultimately wants to keep the world going as it is for a little while. And while the world kind of sucks to be bearer of the dark sign in, it could be worse. Again, just look at Ulysseal. And yes, he is a friend of Lord Gwyn, and just wants to keep the Age of Fire brought in by the Four Lords. But, you know, again, I think he's a bit more well-intentioned overall. Whereas Koth just... he's kind of evil. I mean, he's the leader of the Dark Race, and their whole purpose is to go around stealing the humanity from everyone by murdering them. So, there is that. But again, this is nothing that the actual creators of the game ever come out and say one way or the other, so it's really up to you. It's very open for interpretation. If I ever do Dark Souls 2, which I will grant I am very strongly considering, then we will see something else to do with the possible fallout of which choice you make. And so that's a bridge that we will cross when we come to it. Anyway, yeah, seek the Scaleless. Because he can turn so goddamn fast, even though he doesn't move terribly fast, yeah, getting behind him and chopping the tip off of that back tail, really not the easiest thing in the world, especially if you've already used up his stun time from destroying his crystal. Also, as I've mentioned in the previous playthrough, being behind him is kind of the worst place you can possibly be, in terms of your own survivability, because he can do more damage to you with those tail chops, which have quite a bit of range, than anything else. And hey, I got the Moonlight Greatsword. But I also got all my curse build up, so at least you get to see what a curse death looks like. They kind of turn into a spiky statue, just like the ones we see in curse death type of areas. But I did get the item. And yes, the punishment of the curse status effect is having your maximum HP reduced by half. As you can see, resting at the bonfire does not increase it. And you can't gather humanity, you just have a broken skull there instead. It seemed like I had a little more than half of my max HP. I think that may just be an effect of the FAP ring, but I'm not entirely certain about that. Now right back to business. Oh, it also occurs to me I forgot to actually show off the Moonlight Greatsword in this video, so I will do that next time. Apologies for that, just a little oversight on my part. Well, we're not up to a good start here, and indeed, I pull out a rather embarrassingly narrow win here against one of the easier bosses in the game. I did save my buffs until I got to the other side of him, just to give me a little more time on them. But yeah, I really did kind of do this fight really carelessly. I could have done better, I just didn't make the effort to do so. I just kind of keep getting up in his shit and not really trying to use the safe spots to my advantage. And with the greatly increased damage and boss HP of New Game Plus, that's not a terrifically great idea. But in the end, I do pull out the win, and in the end, that's really all that counts. Notice my curse bar is bigger. I did bring my curse bite ring here just to be safe. Very, very nearly got myself killed there between crystal damage and camera fuckery. Just not being very careful here. But he doesn't have a whole lot of health left, so it's really just a matter of time. Lovely. There is our second chunk of Lord Soul. And another very healthy reward of souls. Not my shiniest effort, but any boss fight you can walk away from, right? Well, after a little more smarts for Old Salad, I think that's just about enough for one episode. As always, I would like to thank you very much for watching, and for joining me along in this New Game Plus abridged run. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I will see you again very soon. Hopefully a little sooner next time. Till then, take care. My enthusiastic thanks to Comrade Darklords, because he totally bought me a blackout curtain, such as Justin Carpenter, Nolden, Zangamarth, Charlie Dunst, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Johnny Millennium, Sanguine Games, Joseph Coco, Canis, Misha Van Doren, Craig Patterson, Frank Greasy, Tim J., and new arrival, Lolo de Puzzlo. Welcome. Thank you all very much, and thanks to everyone who's contributed, and all of you who comment, subscribe, or just watch. Always glad to have you along, and I hope you enjoy the ride.